Hey, you guys, we are back once again for story time from my house. Go ahead before we get started. Y'all know the whole spiel. Y'all know the routine. Say it with me one time for the people in the back. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Click what? You got it for notifications. Give the video a okay, and also share the video. You guys been here long enough. You know the spiel, you guys. Let me go ahead and wrap up this insurance place that I was at, where I got somebody in the comments saying y'all was catfishing people back in the day. I didn't even know it was considered catfishing. I guess I was catfishing people. I'm the original catfisher, okay? So let me go ahead and wrap up this story, how I end up not working at Lender Services. You guys, I loved that job. And the job had a lot of potential. I do remember having, they had what was it? A Christmas party. And normally, you know how when it's Christmas time, they don't really do a whole lot for the temps. At all. Most time they don't do anything for the temps or not a lot for the temps, and they do a lot for the regular employees. But one thing about this company, it didn't really make you feel separate or anything. It treated its temps very well. And if you treat the temps that well, I know for sure you're treating the regular employees really well. So we had a Christmas party, and the Christmas party was like at the Westin Hotel in this big ballroom. There was food everywhere, huge dance floor, great DJ, wonderful decorations. Everybody was dressed up. We had a really, really nice time. And I was impressed. Now, this was just for the temporaries that worked in that particular department. And so they didn't, put us with the other ones. But the level of a Christmas party for the temps just kind of let me know what company you're walking into to being hired. And one of the benefits of working there as a temp, it was like a temp to hire position. You were going to be hired. They had amazing benefits, great vacation time, PTO, all of that different stuff. Those are the things that I needed. Now, remember I told you in the last story, you guys, that there was 2 temporary agencies that would go there. And one temporary agency paid one thing and the other one paid like $1 more. Well, when I found out, that's why they never want you to discuss your pay rate. So once I found out that the other temp service, made $1 more, I'm like, I want to go over there with them. So I went and talked to my supervisor. Now, this supervisor lady, she was the one that said, Sherry, since you like to talk, we're going to put you over there on the call center side. So she still was my supervisor. She still was the supervisor of the whole department. So I went and talked to her, and I told her, hey, I got 2 young kids, and the one temp service is paying an extra $1 an hour. How can I get how can I get on with that temporary agency, but I don't want to lose my position here? She said, this is what you do, Sherry. She said, go let your temp agency at the end of the week, let them know. What did she say? No, she said, go apply for the new temp agency. She said, and then tell them that you want to come here. She said, and then go and terminate your assignment with the other temp agency. And then once you apply at the other one, let me know. I'll call down there and tell them that we want you, that we need someone, and I'm looking for someone that applied named Sherry. And I'm like, okay, cool. So that's what I did. So I went and told my temp agency after I applied with the other one, hey, I gotta quit. I'm no longer able to, do this assignment or whatever. And they was like, okay, perfectly fine. Now, so the whole operation went together, and I ended up, I didn't even miss a day. It went from stopping one to that Monday, I was right there back in the same position under a different temp agency that made more money. And so what happened was we would fax over, our supervisors would fax over our timesheets. So one day I'm on the phone. You had to, I think you had to fax, she had to fax over our, timesheets by a certain time, like a certain day, like Tuesday by noon or something like that. And so she faxed it over, but for some reason, I don't know if it didn't go through, it wouldn't go through, whatever it was. So the lady from the temp agency called the desk phone. Now we had a little like a team lead lady that sat at the desk over there by the call center department. And we had any questions, we could ask her. But when there was anything that you needed a day off or something like that, you talked to the supervisor lady, the one that told me to go to the temp agency. So my old temp agency called and said, hey, we did not receive Sherry Howard's timesheet. And so the lady at the desk didn't know, the team lead didn't know the arrangements me and the supervisor had. So she said, hold on, I'll let you talk to Sherry. Girl, did nobody tell you to let them talk to me? They ain't supposed to know I'm here. So I get on and I was like, who is it? And they was like, such and such temp service. And I'm like, what do they want? She was like, they don't have your time sheet. And she was like, well, I told her, I said, well, send her to the supervisor because I don't, send her over to Miss So-and-so because I don't have the time sheet. She'll have to fax it over. So she transferred the call over to the main supervisor, but I was already busted. And so the lady on the phone from the old temp agency told my supervisor, hey, I need Sherry's time thing. It didn't come through. But is she still working there? Because she told us she wasn't. So the cat's out the bag. So she told her, yes, she is still working here. But she's not just working through you guys. Child, let me sip my coffee. And guys, I'm going to show you the pattern of my entire life that is very, very discouraging after this story. And so she faxed over the timesheet. I didn't hear nothing for about a week. And then another week goes by. About midway through that second week, my supervisor pulls me in the office. And she says, Sherry, I messed up. And I'm like, what you do? Mess up my timesheet? What's going on? She said the old temporary service found out you were still working here. And part of their contract with the temp agency is if a person works for a company, works through them at a company, and they depart ways with that company, they cannot work for that company directly or indirectly for 6 months. If I quit you, why do you care? Why do you have a hold on where I can be employed as a temp agency? And she said, and with that, Sherry, we're in breach of contract with him. I gotta let you go. Girl, I cried in that lady's office. She was like, Sherry, I am so sorry. I would have never told you to go to the other temp agency if I would have known that. I would have never asked you to go there. And I said, so when is my last day? She was like, today has to be your last day because we're in breach of contract. Oh, honey. Baby, ooh, wait. I was outdone. When I tell you I was outdone. So she said, this is what we're going to do, Sherry. She said, today is, say it's February, whatever today is, 23rd or something like that. August 23rd. She said, go find you a job somewhere. Even the temp agency that you're still with, go find you some work. She said, but in 6 months to this day, you apply at the beginning. No, she said, you apply with the company August 23rd, and I will hire you right back in your position. I promise you. Y'all. So remember, I was cool with the lady named Mavis. I went on and I left that day. Honey, Mavis was upset. Everybody else was upset. Zena was upset. I kept in contact with Zena, and I kept in contact with Mavis. And about 2 months after that, like 90 days after that, they get hired on. So if you get hired on in 3 months, because you had to do like so many hours to get hired on, why would you put a hold or a block on somebody for 6 months if they leave you? Why would you do that? When I tell you, I felt so defeated. I cried. And I talked to Mavis, and I said, Mavis, you stood up. She said, girl, yeah, we got hired on. We're making such and such dollars an hour. I don't know what they was making. This was back when the O.J. Simpson trial was going on. They probably was making about $10, $11 an hour, which was a huge amount back then because I think the minimum wage was probably about $3.35 or $5 an hour back in 1991, 92, whenever O.J. was up there on trial or whatever. And honey, she said, but you gonna come back? I said, well, I gotta check with Miss So-and-so. And so periodically I would call Miss So-and-so. She was like, Sherry, I have not forgotten you. She was like, we got 3 more months. Cool. I called this woman, y'all, every single month. So I'm just finding jobs to fill in. You know, you can always find your little job. Nothing, you know, no career or nothing like that, because I wanted my career to be with lender services. Baby. So I called her the 4th month. Miss So-and-so, this is Sherry. Hey, Sherry, how's it going? Da, 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 da. Yes, yes, yes. Mavis, is whatever the woman name is, so-and-so is still here. Everything is going great. Sherry, we got 2 more months. I called her the 5th month. Well, I called the 5th month. And somebody else answered the phone. And I said, can I speak to Miss So-and-so? She's no longer with the company. I called Mavis. I said, what happened to Miss So-and-so? She found her a different job. I said, girl, I was supposed to come back next month. Baby, I ain't even apply. I didn't even apply. Y'all, I was sick. That's how I lost my job at Lender Services. Messing around trying to get some more money and got yoked up and caught up. And you guys, the crazy part about it is, now this is, I find the cycle in my life all the way up till about 2015, to be honest. I found myself working at Resident Service. Remember Resident Service? I was through a temp agency at Resident Services. Had been at Resident Services like 2011 to 2013. I could not get in that door as a hire for nothing. For nothing. Whenever you apply for a position, you had to go take a test. So this test, you took your little test. I couldn't pass this test. This test was beyond hard. It was like, what's the name? I was applying for like administrative assistant position. What's the name of the National Society for Secretaries? Huh? Y'all not even affiliated with it, so why are you worried about it? So then when I would go back and take the test again, and I would look those questions up that stumped me, it was a whole nother set of questions. But the test was so hard. It was so freaking hard. It was utterly ridiculous how hard that test was. And I could never get in with Resident Services. So my thing was, why do I even have to take the test if I'm already in here? I'm good enough to work for you through a temp agency, but I'm not good enough to work for you directly. Like, can't I bypass that because I'm on-site experience? I'm asking to be hired in the position that I'm already doing. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm asking to be hired in the position that I'm already doing. So why are you taking me through protocol or whatever? And I'm already here. If I'm good enough as a temp, I know this job. Why are you quizzing me on something, on information that I'm not even going to use? Like, who cares who's a National Secretary Society is if you're not affiliated with it and I'm never going to be a part of it? Like, it made no sense to me. So that was one thing. So that right there, I got laid off from Resident Services like twice. Remember I did the video about a dog get me my job back. I got laid off twice there. So I was like, after a while, I'm tired of just being a temp and, being in limbo about my job, never being able to get a raise through a temp agency. Why don't I just come work for the company? And my boss and them were fine with it. The capital K lady was definitely fine with it. And Mr. Luis, my other coworker, man, he was definitely fine with it, but could never get in. So by and by, Resident Service faded out. And so when it faded out, I'm out of a job again. So the same temp agency that I was with, that I went to go work for, the environmental department for the city of Cincinnati, the health department. So I go there and I work for my boss, Mr. Antonio, wonderful, wonderful man. And he ended up being the director over the health department. Like right now, I met Miss Pam. I'll tell you about Miss Pam and some other stories. We have some wild stories. Me and her being in the office together. Matter of fact, me and her are going to dinner tonight because we have a special restaurant that we go to. And I've been knowing Miss Pam since 2013. So it's been 10 years, you guys. So, my boss came to me, Mr. Antonio came to me and said, Sherry, I want you to work for me. He was like, go take, they call it the CRR test, which is a customer relations representative. I'm working through the temp agency as a CRR. But the city of Cincinnati has so many freaking protocols, so much bunch of red tape, and they're all into that seniority stuff. So he was like, the CRR test, when it opens back up, because for a while the city was on like a hiring freeze, but when it opened back up, which was around Christmas time, it opened back up. I never forget, we were at the Yard House for our Christmas gathering that our department, and me and all the sanitarians would go to the Christmas party. And my boss, Mr. Antonio, said, Sherry, when are you going to come work for me? I said, immediately. He said, well, the CRR test is open. I need you to take it. So I go, I make my appointment. I said, hey, Mr. Antonio, I got my appointment that day. Fine, go. I took the test. I passed the test, and I got on the list. Now, there's thousands, y'all, thousands of people, not thousands, maybe hundreds of people taking this test. So I end up being number 69. Doesn't matter. So he was like, you're on the list. I'm on the list. I'm number 69. He checked the list. He said, cool, I'm about to hire you. Come to find out, you have to be the top 10% of the list. To get an interview. I think I was about 5 people down. 5 people down. And he was like, Sherry, the 10% runs out at this number and you 5 names down. I said, so what that mean? I can't hire you. I said, oh my freaking, this is a story of my life. Oh my freaking God, are you serious? Are you serious right now? So I'm sick. He was like, okay, well, if I can't hire you, I'm not going to hire nobody. Just keep doing what you're doing. But deep down in me, I wanted to work for the city because the benefits, amazing. It is ridiculous how much the people at the city make, baby. I would have went into that position starting out was like $49,000. And when I tell you I did, honey, I popped and bopped all through that office, honey. Honey, the job. The city workers, baby, they make the money and they do. Not all of them. They work, but So he was like, okay, forget it. I'm not going to hire nobody. He was like, just keep doing what you're doing. But I wanted to work for them. I needed the benefits. I wanted the pay raise. You know, they got a union. They got all of this different stuff. So I said, okay, by this time, his boss start calling him. You need to hire somebody. He's like, well, I wanted to hire Sherry, but he was like, but you done kept going on about wanting to hire that girl and getting that list, and you bugged us, and we opened up that list. You got to hire somebody. He was like, Sherry, they're making me hire somebody. I'm like, what? So he shot himself in the foot. We got shot in the foot. He got to hire somebody. So now I got to go. When he hires somebody, I got to go. So I was like, I got to look for another job. So I ended up working for Hamilton County. Not through a temp agency, but directly. I didn't want to go to the county. The county is, first of all, cheap. And the county is a mess. So I don't want to go to the county. So I go to the county. I get the job at the county in 2015. I worked down there at the city for about 2 good years, 2 years and some change. And I didn't want to go down there to the county, but I had no choice. So then he ends up dragging out the process. So I'm calling him like, Mr. Antonio, I want to come back. He was like, you can come back whenever you want to. I promise I'm going to argue with these people. You can come back. He was like, but Sherry, if you come back, you can only ever be a temp. And I was like, but I don't like it down here. He was like, well, you can still come back. I don't care. You can come back. He was like, I ain't hiring nobody. I was like, I ain't hiring nobody. He took about 3 months so before he hired. He's like, he would call me on the phone and say, yeah, I interviewed somebody. I don't like her. I was like, but was she really good? He was like, she was, but I don't like her. And so him and Miss Pam would interview, and he would interview somebody else. He was like, she all right, but I ain't picking her neither. So much so that they pinned him down and said, you got to hire somebody by such and such a date. No excuses. And so some lady that was working at a dentist department for the city, because the city got dentists in the neighborhoods, saw the position and she merged over and took it, and she is there to this day. Honey, I can't stand her. I look at her like, get out of my chair. So she moved in my position. But that is, for me, the story of my life. It's like places I want to get in, I can't get in. And let me tell you something, I'm an amazing worker. I'm before time, on time. I don't do a bunch of calling off. And the job was so easy. It was it was a lot to do, but once you got it down packed, it was easy. And I think I was a great asset there, and I think I would have been a great employee there. So, y'all keep your fingers crossed, because the cycle all the way around to now, it's been like, 8 years since I've been gone? Yeah, about 8 years since I've been gone. Miss Pam is retiring. Now, Miss Pam, she done 30 years, and then after 30 years, they can let you stay 5, and then you gotta go. And her position is coming open. And the supervisor on the other side, which was like in the same little floor, like you walk through the little hallway, we're right there at each other's desk or whatever. The supervisor that used to be there, he passed away, but his protege took over, and I know her. So I get a phone call, y'all, like last week, like Shay Shay. So they call me Shay Shay, y'all. Shay Shay LaBamba. I said, what? I'm gonna need you to go look at that test and take it. I said, what? It was like, because we need a replacement. She's retiring in December. We need a replacement. And I'm like, oh, what? And you'll be perfect for that. I said, just say it ain't so, honey. So, honey, if I'm not a millionaire by December, I promise to the heavens above, y'all, I would collapse and cry if I got that position. I would absolutely collapse and cry real tears if I got Miss Pam's old position, you guys. So I'm not going to get too hyped about it, because you already know how it goes, but it is what it is. You guys, so that's my story of my never-ending popping from places to place. And I don't work at some darn good places, honey. All over the place, I worked at some good places. But they don't want to let us all say, yeah. So, keep me in prayer, y'all. So, at the end of the day, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give the video a thumbs up. Click the notification button and share the video. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm about to change my shirt and put on another one. And then sit right here again. Y'all gonna see that yellow flower. Sit right here again and do another video so I can upload tomorrow, y'all. See you tomorrow. Peace.